sponsors, Tony Avaze, Jamie Morales, Jeff Laporte, Nick Lieber. We've got a couple other special guests in the audience too. A couple agents are here. And Jack, Keenan, and I found this wonderful location, so you enjoy it for an education seminar. And we've got also Nama Dwani, attorney. So we've got a lawyer, an inspector, an insurance agent, and a mortgage person. Anything you need to buy real estate, including agents. Any questions you have for any of us, feel free to ask this evening. But first, I'd like to introduce to the stage my broker, Mr. Nick Lieber.
Good evening, guys. Thank you very much for coming. We are very excited to have this property purchasing seminar. This is not just for first-time home buyers. Some of you guys in the room are not first-time home buyers. This is for everybody looking to invest in real estate. We know that right now is a very good time to invest in real estate for a couple of reasons. Number one, interest rates are at the lowest we're probably going to see again for decades. They are extremely low, which means you have the ability to purchase more property, or you can afford more property than you've been able to in a long, long time. We've seen some price decreases in some areas, which is interesting. Inventory has also gone up, which the nice thing means that you have more to choose from, and you've got sellers, particularly in this winter market, that we're very excited to have anybody walk through their home. So not everybody's buying right now, so you have the potential to negotiate a better deal. Your EXIT Realty agent takes a lot of classes in negotiation and contracts, all that good stuff. We are really excited about the 2020 buyer's market. We feel like there's going to be a lot of good opportunities for buyers. The role of a realtor is a couple different things. Number one, to make sure that you get into every property possible. That's setting you up on the right MLS search. That's getting you the app that we have for you, so you can browse property on your own in addition to what we send you. It's making sure that you get in touch with the right team. We put together a team tonight for you that is extremely good. I've used our attorney here many, many times myself. I've been doing this for 21 years. It's actually all I've ever done. So a lot of people in the room we've selected for you because we use them, we trust them. Tony, it's actually his birthday tonight. So this guy's here. This guy's here is your lender and is spending his birthday with you because this is what he does for a living as well. So you're going to find that the vast majority of us work 7 days a week. We pick up our cell phones when you call us and when you text us. This is our passion, and I feel really good about what we do because we are empowering lives through real estate. There is no greater investment for you than real estate. If you buy a stock, yeah, it can go up, it can go down, just like real estate values can go up and they can go down. However, historically over time, real estate values normally are going up. In the meantime, you're putting down 3%, 3.5%, 5% on a primary residence, and so your return on investment, your ROI, is greater in real estate than almost anything else. Because you're going to pay that mortgage off over time, but your investment in that piece of real estate is so small compared to putting in 100% of the price of a stock, or 100% of the price of a bond. And who knows what exactly is going to go on Wall Street, or even Main Street, but we know what's going on your street because you control the property. So we'd strongly encourage you to listen tonight to everybody that's here. We're excited to have you. This is not something you need to run out the door and buy a piece of real estate today or tomorrow, but this starts the conversation with us so that you've got your team in place. You've got an amazing attorney, a lender, great real estate brokers from EXIT, insurance person. We've got a person from a moving company into the room, so we're going to even get you out the door of your current place. It's putting together that vital team is what we're here to help you do. So we are going to be on Facebook Live, so if you get something that you're like, oh shoot, what did he say? We're going to have Q&A at the end, of course, as well. But we do want to get the properties purchasing social started with Tony, the lender. And I'll tell you why we're going to really focus on the lending part. All the rest of this is great. We're here to be your real estate agent from the start, but we don't know where to start budget-wise until you and your lender decide how much you want to spend. And so the lender is going to get the vast majority of the time tonight, not because it's his birthday, but because he is a huge part of your process. And if you're paying cash, that's awesome, we love you, but the vast majority of us are financing our properties, particularly investment properties. It's called OPM, other people's money, some of the best leverage in the world. So Tony's going to talk to you all about that. We will have time for Q&A at the end. One more group of people I want to thank. I want to thank Mary and Jack. They are the people that put this together for you. So that's it. I pride myself and we pride ourselves as a team on putting together awesome events, not just about real estate, but all of these events take time and effort to find the right people, to find the right venue. This is an awesome venue. I've never been here before. We've had, I think, at least 6 of the sliders already. So feel free to eat, drink, have a good time. But Tony is up next to talk to you about money.
Thank you.
I'll go on this side because
I don't think we need a mic.
can you guys hear Nick fine?
Yeah, I'm loud.
I guess I can get one. Hi everyone, my name is Tony, as you guys know, I'm with Neighborhood Loans. And tonight I wanted to go over with you guys the lending side of things. And I'm sure you all have heard of a horror story when it comes to a mortgage, real estate, or especially on the lending side of things. There's a lot of pieces that go into play into buying a house. But first I want to ask, how many first-time home buyers we have here tonight? Okay, and then we ask everybody else owns a home already, and we got some realtors. And look. Well, the first thing I want to go over with you guys is, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask me, because I don't know if we'll have any time for Q&A at the end, but I'll jump right into it. You guys do have this printed out on your desk, so I'll just touch briefly because there's 20 pages. I think I have only like 30 minutes, so I could probably be here all night, but you guys do, if anything pops up, but I'll just go over like the topic briefly, and then if any questions come up, let me know. But personally, myself, I've been doing loans since 2003. So I started right out of college, and it was my first job out of college, and I didn't know what a fixed rate was. And here I am, 2019, on my birthday, with you guys here, because I love what I do. And the biggest reason why I do this personally myself is, I know the struggles that me and my family went through in 2000 when we bought our first house when I was in college. And I know the uncertainty we had, the questions we had. I didn't want anybody to go through that ever again. Not that my company or I'm perfect, but I know what I hated going through. And the biggest thing in the lending side of things is surprises. And the only surprise you should have when getting a mortgage is a good surprise. Nothing else. Any other surprises are no good. A good lender should have a very good idea on their numbers, their closing costs, your payments. But the biggest thing is what you guys are comfortable with is going to be your biggest question you should answer is, what are you comfortable with your monthly payments? Because you can qualify for a lot more. And the reason why I say that is because we qualify you based on your gross income. And that can get some people in trouble because gross is not what you take home, it's your net income. So the biggest thing when it comes to buying a house is figuring out what monthly payment you're comfortable with. Leave everything to the side, because a lot of mortgage loan officers or real estate agents will push you for a higher purchase price and a higher loan amount. Keep in mind, sad to say this, but I want to be transparent. We are on commission. So let's say I make 1% on every loan. The higher the loan amount is, the more money I make. So you might get loan officers to push you to qualify for more, and you might qualify for that purchase price. It'll be no issue. But before you ever buy a house, think about the payment you're comfortable with. As far as the benefits of buying a house, I mean, these are just some of the things that my marketing guys put up, but schools, neighbors, your own house, I mean, tax deductions, I mean, there's so many things, but on top of it, I'm 37 years old tonight. I bought my house in 2000. My house will be paid off in 2 years. Time flies by. If you're renting, you're throwing your money away. If you have a home already, real estate, like Nick touched, is the greatest investment. All successful people in America that I know of, real estate is number one, and then stock market is number two. I work too hard for my money. It's even my son's birthday tonight. He's 7 years old. I'm here. I cannot do stocks. I want more control of my money, and real estate is the safest security and the best investment. Also, I want to touch one more thing about benefits of buying a home. Nick just touched on it just right now, said about buying an apartment, living in one and renting the other 2 to 3 units, you can literally buy 2 to 3 units with 3% down and live in it. So I know so many cops in Chicago, they just became cops, God bless them. They bought a 2 unit, 3 unit with 3% down. They're collecting rent and living in for free. So don't be afraid to invest in real estate because it's the safest investment. And then as far as the benefits, I mean, there's plenty of benefits. Are you ready to buy? Nobody can answer this for you but yourself. So when you're comfortable, you're ready to buy. Don't pay attention to the market because the market is always going to be up and down. When in 2008 the market crashed, everybody said go ahead and buy. People bought and ended up losing. So, but the market is never going to go. I personally don't think we're ever going to have a crash like 2008. So when you're ready to buy, do it because, like Nick said, rates are excellent right now, lowest they've ever been. I personally think the reason rates are so low right now is what's going on with the China trade and the Brexit deal. I personally think the rates will be good until March of next year, and I pray to God they do stay because a lot of people take great advantage of this. I did a lot of purchases last year. I know a lot of people that bought a lot of homes last year, and rates were in the high 4.5s, 5 and a quarter. So now rates are 3.5, 3.7. And we'll talk a little bit more about rates, but rates is a picky thing because you can buy the rate down as low as you want. Why get pre-approved? This is huge. You guys know that by law, you can just call a bank and just tell them, hey, I make this much money, I have this much down payment, and a mortgage, like me personally, a loan officer, have to give you an approval letter, like a pre-approval letter. I don't have to verify anything. Do it, but it's the biggest mistake of your life. You're wasting your time, you're jeopardizing your earnest money. There is inspection, there is an appraisal fee. So if you're gonna buy a house, don't you really wanna know if you qualify 100%? So anybody you know that wants to buy, tell them to get their income checked. Everybody says they have, I closed over 2,000 deals. You know how many people tell me they have great credit? Or good credit? Oh my God. Pull your credit, because there's Equifax, we use Credit Karma, Guys, it's a free service. I mean, how good could it be? If you guys, anything, I mean, only tonight is the best thing free you're ever gonna get. Food and drinks. Nothing free is good. And these credit people don't, and I pull credit, literally 2-3 credit words a day. Oh yeah, Tony, my credit is 780, I just checked Credit Karma. I pull the credit 680, oh my God, they're living. I'm like, it's not my fault. Credit Karma will keep a good eye on it for free, but it's not your actual credit score. So it's a good way to have it, but don't rely on it too much. So I definitely get pre-approved, definitely have your income check, definitely have your credit check. And you also can do a buy a house with 1% down. There's down payment assistance as well. I'll continue because I don't know how much time I have. I can talk about it.
You have lots of time.
Okay. Thanks, Nick. Like I said, documents for approval, W-2s, tax returns. If you're self-employed, a lot of people with self-employed don't pay enough taxes when they file their taxes. You can buy a house with bank statements only. So bank statements for 12 months. You have good credit, you have a business, you don't show a lot of income, you don't pay a lot of taxes, we don't check your income. We just do bank statement only for 12 months. And you can buy a house with a 640 credit score. What kind of mortgage is right for you? What kind of mortgage is right for you? It all depends on your credit and how much money you got to put down. The best mortgage is a conventional loan, a Fannie and Freddie. FHAs, if you guys have heard of an FHA mortgage, it's a government loan, 3.5% down, but it has mortgage insurance. Fannie and Freddie loans also have mortgage insurances as well, but they do fall off once your house hits a certain value. But FHA mortgage insurance, until last year, it would be on there permanently, but I think this year, I don't know when, but they did change it. 11 years, your mortgage insurance will fall off if your loan to value is under 80%. So if FHA does fall off after 11 years, as of last year, and how long I've been in the business, it's on there permanent. So this year they changed it to where the mortgage insurance will fall off. Mortgage insurance is if you don't have 20% down. It doesn't protect you anything, it protects the big guys, for if you ever work for close. We talked about the programs available, what type of home. the biggest home possible. I guess everybody wants the biggest home. You know, whatever, you know, sit down, talk with you know, with your wife, or my dad taught me a great rule, and I'm still married for 10 years. He said, you can be the boss at work, but your wife is the boss at home. Get that clear, you'll be happily married. I tried that the first time I got a divorce. Second time, 10 years, 2 beautiful boys. I go home, honey, what do you want? You got the house, it's all yours. I'm here right now. I spend so much time away. Who am I to judge and pick a house for my wife that stays home all day? And then I don't want to put up flowers. I don't want to clean. I don't want to design the house. You do it. So what type of home? What's the right home? If you're married, let your wife pick it. You'll be happy, I promise. Beginning to look for a home. A realtor is the most important thing when it comes to this. I'm not just saying this because they're here. I appreciate them having here. I'm very honored, very grateful I'm here. But the biggest mistake a lot of times people make is they talk to their neighbor. We can work out a price. You don't have to pay that 3, 4, 5%. I can work it into the price. Work it out yourself. But then also call an agent and see how much better it will be for you. And remember, as a buyer, you don't pay the buyer's agent. The sellers do. So the seller will always push you to negotiate with you directly, because obviously they want more bucks for their house. But if they're smart and they got a listing agent to sell their home, they can get more money for their house. It's like me, if I sold my house personally, I want $300,000 for my house. Whatever you sell it for, you want to sell it for $340,000, take it, work it out with the buyer's agent, find a great buyer for it. A lot of times people are greedy and end up getting in trouble and losing more at the end. So definitely a real estate agent is the best source for you. And they know it all, they're on the street all day. If you're an engineer or whatever you do for a living, no matter how much you check on Redfin, Zillow, it's not like using an agent, I promise you. When you have found the home you want, determine what you're willing to offer, decide how much earnest money you want to put down. I think earnest money is huge when it comes to multiple offers. At this time of the year, especially in the summertime, there's a lot of multiple offers. A lot of times agents will call me, hey Tony, I put an offer. You know, they want their offer accepted. The highest earnest money sometimes does win, but make sure you have a very good attorney to back you up. Because if you put an offer for the big earnest money, and then things don't go right, and your attorney leaves you that best friend that you knew because they're not getting paid if the deal doesn't close, or they will get paid somehow, but make sure you have a very strong attorney to back you up if you're going to put more than $1,000 earnest money. And even $1,000 is a lot, but earnest money does play a big role when you get your offer accepted. Me personally, this is how crazy I am. If I'm your loan officer, I literally call the listing agent. So if Jack puts an offer or Mary puts an offer, and I ask them, like, who would you put an offer with? Oh, this guy at Remax. I call the agent and say, hey, my name is Tony Abazi. I guarantee my approval, and this is why this deal will close. I'm on commission. I don't want to run around for a month and not close the deal. So that's where I go and step and play and help the offer get accepted. But earnest money does play a big role when it comes to getting your offer accepted. Determine how much you want to offer again with the agents, making an offer, realtors. We talked about earnest money. Home inspection. Mamma mia, home inspection. Home inspection is not mandatory. I don't care if you do a home inspection or not. I only care about if you do an appraisal. Big confusion with first-time home buyers. Why do I need to do a home inspection? Because you're getting the biggest debt of your life. Don't you want to make sure it's okay? Well, I'm going to spend $400, $500. Good. Because you're going to lose $300,000 if something is wrong with the house after you move in. And I'm not saying that they're 100%. But I personally, I want to have a peace of mind for getting the biggest debt of my life. I want to make sure things are right. And then an appraisal on top of it. Appraisal is mandatory. Obviously, every investor will not give you money if the house is not worth it. But the appraisal also kind of goes hand in hand with the inspection. So you have two things protecting you. And things are a lot smoother once you move in. Your roof won't fall on you, I promise. Well, I hope so. Closing cost. Closing cost. Free closing cost. No such a thing. But closing cost is title fees is the biggest thing when it comes to closing costs. And it's kind of hard because we don't know what title company the sellers will pick. But as far as closing costs, when you meet with a loan officer, and I highly recommend if you're gonna buy a house, meet with them face to face, sit down and go over all these details. Because the loan officer will go over you with all the costs. And I always assume $2,000-3,000 over, that's why I have good surprises instead of bad surprises. But closing costs, you can get help from the sellers as well. So that's where an agent comes into play to help you with your closing costs. They can work out a seller credit to help you with title fees, to help you with lender fees, to help you with appraisal, attorney, insurance, all of it. So definitely meet with a loan officer and a realtor face to face. On closing day, best day, you're clear to close. My favorite story about clear to close is this. I always call my buyers, I say, you're clear to close, do not go furniture shopping today. Wait till you get your keys at closing tomorrow. I've had people, I've called them in the past, 10 years ago. You're clear to close. Next day, home shopping, car shopping. Real bad. You lost your earnest money, you've lost your inspection, your breach of contract. I mean, who knows? The attorney can touch base on it. I don't want to get into it. But if you're clear to close, good job, you're almost done. Wait till you get the keys. When you go to closing, they say bring a receipt of the insurance paid. A good loan officer should have that ahead of time. When you go to closing, all you should have is your driver's license and the money you're bringing in. Insurance should be handled way before that. It's paid. I always have my insurance paid at closing. It makes it easier than paying an agent, trying to get a proof of a receipt. I just pay it at closing. Title company cuts them a check. But that's one of my stories when it comes to you're clear to close. You're not done yet. Last but not least, programs. Fannie, Freddie, like I touched, government loans, FHA, VA loans. If you're a veteran, the best loans out there, no money down, no mortgage insurance. So if you're a veteran, you serve this country, you deserve more than this, but it's a great, rates are lower, no money down, like I said, no mortgage insurance, and you only need like a 540 credit score. So you really don't need much to get approved for a VA loan. And how can you blame them? I'm so happy they're doing this because they're the people that deserve it the most. Do you guys have any questions? Because I think this is the last thing. I don't know how much time I have, but
You have lots of time, and I have questions for you.
oh, mama.
So Tony, a couple different questions that I know people at home are gonna wanna know. If they're not VA, a lot of people wanna know what the lowest amount down that they can do, and what are the program criteria?
1% with IDA. IDA is a down payment assistance program. There's $7,500 for Cook County. Only Cook County, $7,500 forgiven after 5 years. Every other county, $6,000, $7,500, and $10,000. The $6,000 is forgivable after 10 years. So if you live in the house for 10 years, they forgive you the money. Well, let's say you don't know I can't even predict what will happen tomorrow. 10 years, you move in 5 years. There is no penalty. Flood was I gotta pay for it. No, you're just giving some of that money back. So let's say we borrowed $6,000 for easy numbers, divided by 10 years. So let's say you live in the house for 5 years, you owe them back $3,000. So when you sell your house or refinance, that gets rolled in. So it's not a penalty. And then there's the $7,500. $7,500, besides Cook County, is deferred. What that means is when you sell your house or when you refinance your house, you owe that money back. Not a bad deal. Free money. Who would give you $7,500 with no interest? Only your mom and dad, and they're probably gonna want it after 5 years. So it's on there for life until you refinance or sell. $7,500. There's also $10,000 for non-Cook County residents. The $10,000 is $83 a month for 10 years, and it gets paid off. That's like a worst case scenario. Huh?
That's basic volume.
Yeah. If you work it out to where, I mean, if the guy has zero money, if he doesn't even have 1% in his bank, if he doesn't have 1% of the purchase price, if he doesn't have $1,000 in the bank, you shouldn't buy a house. But if you have to push him, $10,000 would work. But I always push people for the $6,000 because it's forgivable. So those are the programs out there available for down payment assistance.
Suppose that's not what you're looking for. What's 3% down? That's Fannie and Freddie?
Fannie and Freddie, Home Possible Home Ready. It's a first-time buyer program. It's called first-time home buyers, but people that hold a home prior can also qualify for it. So if you own a home now, you don't qualify for it, but it's 3% down up to 4 units. Home Possible Home Ready. Remember, Anything over 1 unit is 15 to 20% down. So home possible, home ready, 3% down. For first time home buyers, even if you owned the home before, as long as you don't own one now.
Can you tell me a little bit about a 203K loan?
203K loans are rehab loans. So if you find a house that you really love and you want to do some work because your husband is handy, there is money we give you to fix the home. It's called a 203K loan. 203K loan is for FHA, but there's also home style, home ready renovation loan as well. And you can get as much, you can get up to $50,000, $60,000. As long as the value of the house is up to 110, 115% of the value of the house, they will give you money to fix the house. One thing about rehab loans with realtors that have a lot of clients that want to do this, keep in mind that the biggest mistake they made, the contractor they hire has to know that they will not get paid for their labor until they're completely done with the job. The only money the us will give them is equipment money. We're not going to pay them for any labor until the job is done, the property is inspected, then they get a cut check. No, your brother cannot do the house, no, your husband cannot do the house. It has to be a licensed contractor, and he has to know that he will get paid for his time when the job is done and is inspected. Inspection can take 1 to 7 business days after he's done. So I've had contractors call me, Tony, I want my money tomorrow. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to wait. So as long as you have a good understanding with your contractor, very good loans, especially if you love a house. And especially if you're having a hard time finding a house. I swear to God, me and my wife saw a $500,000 house. The kitchen was brand new, I love it. She's like, if I buy this house, I'm remodeling the kitchen. No. If the house is brand new remodeled and you don't like it, don't touch that house. Find something else that needs work and you can get the money for it. And the rates and it's not that bad. People make it seem like it's so hard to get a rehab loan. As long as you have the right contractor, it is not that bad. And obviously the right loan officer. But I've closed a rehab loan. I know you guys have heard 60, I'm sure 45, 60 days. I've closed a rehab loan in 23 days. That's pretty good. But as long as you have remember, I spend 2 hours pre-approving people. I literally sit down. If someone wants to call me, get pre-approval over the phone, go to the next bank, because I don't want to lose my loyalty and my respect to my realtor, and I don't want to help you. If you don't have time to come sit down and go over your finances, go over your personal budget, for your biggest debt of your life, I don't want you as my client. Because you're going to foreclose and then you blame me. No, thank you. So definitely rehab loans are worth it. Anything else?
Is there a purchase price cap on getting a rehab loan?
483. Conventional. 483.
Could you do a rehab loan on a refinance?
Yes,
Thank you.
sure can. As long as the house has value, why not? And you don't even want to do a rehab loan on if you have a house. You can do a refinance and cash out. Even better. Home equity lines of credit. This year, they changed the law. You cannot claim taxes on it. So everybody and their mother refinanced their home equity lines of credit and combined them into one. So if everybody had equity last year, they combined them into one because you cannot claim the taxes anymore. I'm no tax expert, but I'll double check on that. But I know a lot of people have called me. They want to combine their mortgages because a home equity line of credit is not fixed, and you cannot claim the interest anymore on your taxes. You don't get that money back anymore. So everybody wants to combine them. And think about it. When you're combining them, the payment is less and it's fixed. And you don't have to sign 2 payments. Amen.
Tony, this wonderful weather out here. Are you licensed in Florida? Or do you
My
know somebody?
a good friend of mine, Roger Mariani, moved to Florida. He was a fireman in Melrose Park, great guy. He's in Florida with his wife. They're doing some real estate. So my company, I'll check, but it's only a $200 fee for me to do it. So any state, if there's enough business that can help somebody, or even one person, I will definitely do
Jack,
it.
you're covering that fee for me, buddy.
I'll take care of it, don't worry.
You can use the pen.
But I know I know I've done loans I do loans in Wisconsin and Illinois. There's more than enough. Just kidding.
If you're not married, but you go in a house with your significant other, are the tax deductions the same opposed to a married couple?
I would hate to answer that because I don't, like I said, we know tax expert, there's always ways around it, but I'm sure.
Okay.
If we got a president who's a show tax, we'll be fine. Anything else? Guys, I'll be here for a little bit. You do have that printout thing. There's plenty of stuff on there. My email is on there. Feel free to call me, text me, email me anytime. I'll definitely answer your questions. I do apologize if I didn't touch anything. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate you all.
All right, now I want to welcome to the stage Namit Bami, the attorney of our legal questions that we have, because we always need one to close a property
Absolutely.
and help us with all this
I'll
stuff.
switch sides and stand on this now. My name is Namit Bami. I'm a real estate attorney here in the Chicago metro area. My job is to protect you in one simple sentence. We get involved as soon as you're under contract. We're with you from the beginning till the end. We help review the contract. We make sure you're protected in the process. You will get an inspection shortly after going under contract. Once you get your inspection report back, the realtor and I will talk with you about potential requests you may have. It's very important that anything that comes up in that report gets identified at the beginning of the process, because after that, you won't have an opportunity to bring it back. So there's something called attorney review. An inspection in a contract is typically 5 to 7 business days after you go under contract. So at the beginning of the process, it's very intense in the first 5 to 7 days because a lot needs to happen. You need to get your inspection done. I need to draft an attorney letter with your inspection request. We send that to the other side for their review and approval. Once we get through attorney review, you start working with your lender to get your loan approved. They're going to request a lot of items from you. If there's any questions in that process, we're here to protect you in that as well. We're actually the ones that sit with you at the closing table and review all the loan docs with you. You think it might be the lender, but it's actually the attorney that sits there and does the loan docs with you. That's kind of our process in a nutshell. It makes more sense when we get into the process, but our job is to protect you, to make sure you're getting a home. You have clean title. There's no one else that's going to come and say the home is theirs over here. There's no prior debts that you're assuming, so you're getting everything free. And that's kind of the process and role of the attorney in the process. I have some cards on the table. If anyone wants to know more about me or what I do. If anyone has any questions, I can answer them. I can answer your question about taxes, by the way. So if you're buying it jointly with somebody else, it depends who takes the deduction. You can both take it, but it can only be for half. So it just depends who wants to take the deduction. If you both take it, you have to split it, because otherwise the IRS is going to catch it and say, what do you guys do?
Right.
You both can't take the whole deduction.
Okay.
Hopefully that answers your
Yeah,
question.
it did. Thank you.
Thanks.
So it's short and sweet, but if anyone has questions, I'm happy to answer them next, please.
We have this question a lot. How could people lose their earnest money, or how do you protect them?
That's a great question. So your earnest money in a typical contract is protected in 2 ways. One is attorney review. During attorney review, those 5 or 7 businesses I talked about, you can kill the contract for any reason whatsoever, so can the seller if you're a purchaser. If the contract terminates during that period, you get your full earnest money back. Your next contingency is your mortgage contingency. If for some reason your lender, Tony, can't get you approved, he sends us a note and says the reason why, we forward it to the seller's attorney, and you get your earnest money back. You lose your earnest money if you're outside of it. I don't want this house anymore. Well, you have no contingencies left in your contract, so you would lose your earnest money in that circumstance. So it's very important that when you're going through the process with your attorney, that you understand when you can lose your earnest money and when you can get it back. But there's essentially 2 opportunities during the process where you can't get your earnest money back. Nick, does that answer your question?
Absolutely. Yep.
Any other questions? All right, wonderful. I'm the least important person here today, I'll tell you that.
That's not true. Thank you.
Mary?
That's not true. In this business, all of us agents need to consult with attorneys to make sure we do the right things too. Next, I'd like to welcome to the stage Mr. Jamie Morales to talk about insurance when you're buying a property.
Thank you, Mary, appreciate it. How's everyone doing tonight?
Fine.
It's pretty cold, right? So, my name is Jamie Morales. I own an all-state agency in the Gladstone, Jefferson Park area. I have 32 years of insurance background. I know I don't look it. But I really enjoy what I do. And what I enjoy doing the most is helping people make sure they have the right coverage. So when I first meet people and I say I'm an insurance agency, they say, oh, you sell insurance, right? I go, no. Forget about the selling part. I'm an educator. What I want to do is educate my customers to make sure they understand what they have at risk and what products we have and how we can help them make the best informed decision on what they need. So I look at myself as an educator, first and foremost. So you're starting to hear from a lot of experts in terms of what it takes to buy a property, okay? I call it the ecosystem, right? Because we're all related in one way or the other. You have your attorney, you have your inspectors, you have the mortgage broker or the loan provider, right? And then you have your insurance agent. So typically, I will get a phone call 3 to 4 weeks before a close date. And what they need from me is final documents on your home insurance. In order for the loan provider to close out their file and get you ready to close, they're gonna call me, they're gonna say, hey, I need to see the evidence of insurance to make sure it meets the requirements of the loan. I also need a paid receipt showing that the insurance has been paid. Now, sometimes they get a call and say, we're gonna pay the insurance at closing. So we can handle that as well. So in front of you, you'll have some brochures. If you wouldn't mind maybe grabbing those right now and taking a look at that, okay? I want to point you to a couple of things that's in the document. I think I've got an hour, so you're going to walk out of here with Insurance 101. So to this middle panel right here, when you open it up, I want to point you to 3 features that Allstate offers that no other homeowner insurance company offers. What's the #1 complaint that either you said or that you hear about having insurance? Well, I'll tell you what it is. Having your insurance rates go up when you file a claim, right? Right? Is that the #1 thing? It is, okay. So, guess what? We have a way to help you out with that. All right, so there are 3 primary discounts that we have with Allstate when it comes to homeowners insurance. One is deductible rewards. So every year that you go claims free, okay, you don't file a claim, $100 gets added as a credit to your deductible. So on average, a person buying a home, they'll have a deductible of maybe $1,000 or $1,500. Back in the day, way back in the day, it was $500. No one is gonna file a claim for $500 or $600. It just doesn't make sense, okay? So we have a way to reward people when they don't file a claim, okay? The second thing that we have is called claim rate guarantee, right? So we hear it. What good is insurance if when I file a claim, my rates are gonna go up? A lot of times, people aren't getting a claim-free discount up front. You're being grandfathered for not having a claim. But when you file a claim, you'll end up losing that discount. It's an insurance law thing, it's not an insurance company thing, right? So it's not one insurance company is better or worse than the other. It just means that we've grandfathered you, we've given you a 10% discount. When you file a claim, you're gonna lose that discount. Well, we have a feature that if you do file a claim, your premium will not be affected following that claim, all right? Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right. And the third thing we do is, again, if you don't file a claim, you'll get 5% back on your premium. So if you're claim-free every year, you'll get 5% back on your premium. You can get that in a check, or you can have it go towards your premium to pay that down, okay? Do you like those features? All right, great. So my name is on the back of the brochure with my number. I also have business cards. I can hand them out afterwards. If you have any questions, you can come and see me. I say now is the best time to buy a home, right? Not because of the rates, and not because you've got great experts here today telling you about what they can do for you. Can anyone tell me why now is the best time? This season is the best time to buy a home? I'm gonna pick on somebody. Mary, why is now the best time?
Because rates are low.
Okay,
And inventory is high, and sellers are ready to reduce their prices, so now's the time to jump and get something.
you know what, that is a great answer, and it's not wrong. But from my perspective, from an insurance perspective, now is the best time to buy a home because you can see how a home performs under these conditions. Right? Right? So a lot of times in the summertime when it's nice and sunny, 80, 85 degrees, no rain, The homes look great. There's no issues, you can't see anything that's going on. But today, if you drive down a neighborhood street and you look on the roof of a house and you see the snow still on that house, and then the neighbor's house has gaps or it's been melting, that tells you something about the performance of that home, okay? Now, from an insurance perspective, when that home that has their snow melting on the roof constantly happens, day in and day out, the sun comes out, the snow starts melting, right? The sun goes down, you get to 10 degrees below zero, that water is gonna form ice. And from your gutters on up, what will happen is that that ice will continue to grow, to freeze upwards underneath your shingles. We call that ice damming. That water will find its way into your house. So, drive around right now, look at your neighbor's house. The neighbors that have snow still on their roof, it means that their roof is very well insulated. They're not losing that heat from the inside of their house, okay? So that's why I say now is the best time to take a look at some homes, because you get to see performance of the home, all right? Now, 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had, 3 or 4 inches of snow, and what happened the next day? Rain, it went away. That's a perfect opportunity to go check out a house, because the ground is gonna be saturated around the foundation of that home, right? You wanna go down to that basement, you wanna go check it out, you wanna see if there's any saturation going on in the house. If they got a sub pump, you want to hear to see whether or not that sub pump's kicking off every 2 or 3 minutes, right? Imagine when it comes springtime and we get all that rain. If that sub pump is kicking off now, what do you think is going to happen in the springtime when we get spring showers, right? So again, now is the best time to go take a look at properties, check the performance of that house, right? And the reason why I'm bringing up those issues is those things create claims for you. Right? You could take care of your house the best you can, have everything done around the house perfectly, landscaping, decorate the interior of the house, but the performance of that house is also very, very important. And I can share with you stories of what I've seen happen on claims activity through no fault of a homeowner, but again, now is the perfect time. Okay? Any questions? No? Stop by and see me and I'll make sure I give you a call.
All right, Jamie Morales gave a lead in to Mr. Jeff Laporte, who's an inspector. So he can continue on inspecting your home in these seasons, spring, summer, fall, winter.
Yes.
Anything. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks for having me. Jamie, you're hired to be a great assistant. My name is Jeff Laporte. I am a home inspector, Illinois licensed. I've been doing it 15 years. I'm also a police officer, so this is not my full-time job. So therefore, I don't advertise at all. All my inspections that I get are from either from realtors or from other people from referrals. So I don't spend a dime on Yahoo and any other, I don't have a fancy website. It's basically I'm a one-man show. So I'm the person who's gonna answer the phone. I'm the person who's gonna come to your house dressed like this. And pretty much the first day when you meet me, I'm on the inspection, that's probably gonna be the first day that you'll ever meet me, other than these other people that were, my other colleagues here, where you're probably gonna have a little bit more of a rapport with them. Not with me, you're probably, unless you guys are gonna become one of my clients, you know me from here, but that'll be the first day. So basically, like the attorney said, you have a 5-day window, it's typically 5 business days, bless you. They don't include weekends, so if you sign your contract on a Tuesday, you basically have until the next Tuesday. So we work, and we understand it. So when you call us and say, hey, I need an inspection, but I need it by Thursday and it's Monday, we're like, we know, we understand it because we know you're on a timeline. So any home inspector that tells you I'm booked for the next month is pretty much not telling you the truth, because you only know between 5 and 7 days of when your inspection is going to be. So basically, after and like Tony said, you do not have to have a home inspection, but I do recommend it. If you don't use me, hire someone else. I strongly recommend it. It is a peace of mind, and whether it be new construction, whether it be a gut rehab, or whether it be a house that's 40 or 50 years old, always get a home inspection. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to check everything that you're going to do operate in that house, I'm gonna do it in about 2.5, 3 hours. So I'm gonna look at your roof, I'm gonna look at your windows, I'm gonna look at the exterior, the foundation, the structure. I'm gonna test every outlet that I'm able to get to. I'm gonna open and close and lock every window. I'm gonna run your dishwasher, washing machine, washer, dryer, open up your electrical panel. And more importantly, I'm gonna give you dates on your furnace, your air conditioner, and your hot water heater, because there's somewhere in the serial number on that appliance. A lot of times, it'll say, when you're thinking you're going in, it'll say new furnace. Well, I'm gonna go in there and the furnace is gonna be 15 years old. Technically, that's not new. Furnaces and air conditioners typically last 20 years. Hot water tanks, 10 years. Roofs are usually a 30-year shingle. In our weather like we have here, where it's sunny one day, freezing the next day, snow, melting, ice damming, as Jamie said, typically around 25 years. And I will go in your attic. If there's a crawl space, I will go in your crawl space. Like I said, that's why I dress like this. I dress to get dirty, because I know I'm gonna get dirty. A typical inspection, usually when someone calls me and they say, how much do you charge for a home inspection? They really don't, they weren't referred to me. I am on a few websites where they'll get my number from. I know they're shopping around. I'm not gonna be your cheapest price, I'm not gonna be your most expensive price. Depending on the property that you're purchasing, it all depends. Single family, 2-unit, 3-unit, condo, townhouse, they all have different prices. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Does anyone have anything for me? Any questions, any more stories?
What is that? Excuse me. What is the average cost of a home?
A typical
Single family.
3-bedroom, 2-bath,
Single family home?
2,300 square foot is about $400. And then, like Jamie said, now is a great, after a heavy rain, of course I don't want to do it while it's raining, but the ideal would be that night or the next day to have, if there's any water in the basement, if there's any seepage. Like you said, if it's 85 and sunny in August, and it's, you're not gonna know if there's any water in there. The other day, it was after it had 4 inches of snow, 2 weeks ago, the roof was leaking. If it was in the middle of the summer, I would have never seen that leak. The roof was very, very old. I would recommend that a roofer professionally evaluate it anyway, but this just added to it when it was started to leak.
Finished basement, drywall installed. Sorry, I don't.
Yeah, that's okay.
Just a question I get a lot asked from my clients. Finished basement, drywall installed. How do you check for cracked foundation, cement?
You don't. The only thing, when I go into a basement, the first thing I do is I smell. Do I smell any type of moisture? Then I look at anything on the floor, the boards. Is there any new stains? It could be a 70-year-old house, and those stains could have happened 20 years ago if a hot water tank broke. So depending on the location, but the smell, if I see someone with 10 plugs of air fresheners and 2 dehumidifiers going on, I pretty much know something was going on. Because typically nobody has all of that going on in their basement. If it's freshly painted, that's another sign that something might have been going on. But then people might say, hey, let's give it a fresh coat of paint, just like you do your kitchen or your bathroom, before you sell it. But typically by smell, or I look for previous signs of moisture penetration. Yes?
If it's a condo, do you inspect the building or the surrounding units?
Well, typically your roof, ground, structure, and foundation are all part of the association. And so I will give it a once over. If I see something staggering, I'll say, hey, something's going on here. And then usually your attorney will look at the condo docs and see if there's anything going on. We're like, yeah, we know there's $40,000 and they're fixing the facade on the west side of the house. So as far as the roof on a condo, if I can get there, I will. I have no problem with that. But usually in the condo docs, they're very good about itemizing everything they do at a specific time when they did it. The roof was done 7 years ago, and we plan on doing it again in 3 years, and we have this much money allotted for it. Yes?
When you're looking at buying like a multi-family home, as an inspector, is it whether it's something legally built or illegally built? Do you look at that as well?
Well, I'm not the code police, so basically I call what I see. I'm not gonna tell you how to fix it or how much it's gonna cost to fix it. I'm gonna tell you if it's done wrong. If I'm there scratching my head, there's probably something wrong going on. Now, that could have been code 60 years ago when they put it in, but it's not, but that doesn't mean that it's, because if every time they change the code, they don't expect everybody in the city to, okay, let's go out and put an AFCI in every outlet. So, but if something is very, 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 very peculiar or wrong, I will recommend that a plumber or electrician will come out and repair it. Anyone? Anyone else? Now, my cards are on the table. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff. I've used Jeff, he's very thorough, believe me. I want to welcome back to the stage, to the front, my broker, Nick Leland. Thank you.
I keep looking for the stage, but anyway. So I think I'm gonna help close this out a little bit. As far as like a value proposition, you see this big sign over here that says financial leverage. That's something we talk about with our real estate agents a lot. That is how I would close you guys out tonight, to say that this is one of the most powerful tools you can do to better yourself and your family and to leave a legacy. I'm a bookworm, so I'm gonna give you 2 books if you're interested in books at all to read. The first one is called The Automatic Millionaire Homeowner. You've probably never heard of that book, but it is a really good book. It's by a man named David Bach. I don't know anything about the guy, except that I know he wrote a really good book about if you buy a piece of real estate, it's probably not gonna be your forever home, but when you turn around and you look to maybe sell it, keep it, rent it out, and eventually what's gonna happen is you're gonna pay that off, and you're gonna pay off the house after that, and the house after that. And as your family and you grow and change and expand over the years, and maybe you even change locations or cities, you're gonna build accidentally, automatically, being a millionaire. And so that book was very powerful to me when I began my real estate investment journey, not just as an agent, but as an investment. And the second book everybody's heard of, I think, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Do me a favor, read it again. Read it again, because what they say is the home you live in, that's kind of the start of your real estate investing. It's by Robert Kiyosaki, if you haven't heard of it.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Rich Dad Poor Dad. And so if you haven't read that yet, or even if you have, read it again, because what he's saying is not just about your primary residence, it's about cash flow, multi-unit buildings. It's about actually building up assets that create multiple streams of income. There's a concept called house hacking. I didn't mention it earlier, so I'm glad Mary asked me to come back up. House hacking is the idea that you don't just buy real estate to live in, but if you buy a primary residence that happens to be a 2, 3, or 4 flat, you actually still can declare it as your primary residence, get that low money down financing that Tony was talking about. So VA loans, FHA, Fannie, Freddie, 3% down, all these other different low money down programs. You can buy a 2, 3, or 4 flat, live in one of the units. Maybe it's not as sexy as that penthouse condo you were gonna buy, but you live in one, you rent out the other 1, 2, or 3 units that are in the building. And by the way, in the city of Chicago, you automatically get 1 Airbnb unit in that building. So if you guys are trying to do Airbnb or interested in maybe doing that, you can get an Airbnb unit under most of the restrictions. So that means you could rent out one, rent out another as an Airbnb, get potentially even more than that 12-month lease, and you live in the 3rd unit. And guess what? You're gonna probably get close to cash flow if you buy right, so that you're actually sitting there with no money, you're paying or very little money towards your monthly expenses on your unit. The other units count towards your total income, so you could probably qualify for a lot more than if you were just buying a condo. So if I went out and bought a condo right now, I wanna say what my pre-approval amount would be. It's not the most impressive in the world, but it's not the worst either. I'd get pre-approved for a certain amount on a condo. If I buy a multi-unit building, there's leases coming in, 12-month leases. Those act towards my income. Tony's shaking his head, yes, I said that right. scared for a second, not a lender. But it will actually make you have a huge amount of buying power. And what happens at the end of all this is when you turn around and you pay off that property, or you move out and you rent out that last unit, and then you will definitely be cash flowing if you bought right. You turn around and when you pay that off, you have an asset that's making you a ton of money in your retirement or early retirement or later in life, or actually when you will it to your kids or a charity that you want to go to. It's truly building a legacy. So look into house hacking, look into any and all of the people that spoke to you tonight. I think we had a really good balanced presentation. Tony was nice enough to cut it a little shorter than some that have gone on and on, but you can actually sit down with Tony, any of us, tell us what you want, tell us what you're looking for, what your aspirations are, and we will absolutely be able to help you. There's so many great programs out there, there's great technology from realtors. I invite you guys to stay around. Mary, do you have anything else?
No, thank you, everyone. There's more food. And this is B, by the way. She has her moving business, if anyone wants to move. And I want to thank everyone.
Awesome. Thank you guys very much.